In the heart of southern central Italy, small villages steeped in old tradition face an enduring challenge: depopulation. The region of Abruzzo is just 2 hours from Rome, but its mountainous terrain and history of earthquakes led to geographic isolation. For generations, young people have moved away to cities in Italy and beyond in search of opportunity. What's left in these tiny towns? An aging population with memories of a time when these villages thrived with life. But amidst this challenge lies a flicker of hope, as 3 towns in Abruzzo are looking to reverse the depopulation trend by blending tradition with a way forward. In Fontecchio, a homegrown mayor and a group of newcomer artists are bringing cultural activities to their community. In Navelli, a saffron cooperative is inspiring local farmers to continue cultivating the crop of their ancestors. And in Salle, a young leader driven by a love of tradition dreams of bringing back immigrant families who left decades ago. These visionaries are on a mission to resurrect their communities and ensure a future for the small town way of life. In the woods of a medieval village, Fontecchio, a group of artists have created a sanctuary for people looking for a new way of life. The group is known as La Cap and was founded by some college friends in the nearby capital of L'Aquila. They came across an article about an American artist who transferred to the town and started organizing different events, so they decided to visit and understand what was going on.
Non avevamo un'idea ben precisa di che cosa avremmo fatto qui, soltanto ci sembrava interessante la possibilità di avere uno spazio, perché anche se l'Aquila non è una città molto grande, a volte si trova difficoltà a avere uno spazio dove poter fare delle cose, anche in modo autonomo, e quindi abbiamo detto ok, qua ci sembra che ci sia un ambiente favorevole.
Giada is one of La Cap's founding members, and during a walk in the woods one day, the group fell in love with an abandoned house, one they call their headquarters today.
Dopo questo, ha cominciato a coinvolgere tutte le persone che potevano essere interessate a partecipare attivamente in questo progetto che al momento, allora, era soltanto un'idea pazza, bizzarra.
During COVID, Giordano, Giada, and the group committed themselves to the new space and their new project. They cleaned and fixed the house, which now serves as a temporary residency for artists all over the world who want to do a project in a different setting. Jake, Matteo, and Francesca are 3 animators on a month-long residency with La Cap. They had connected online for years, but finally decided to work together in person.
And so I had DM'd Matteo and Francesca asking them, like, hey, is it okay if I just, like, show up in your town and, like, hang out with you guys for a month and maybe we could collab on something? And I think
during their residency, La Cap is hosting different evenings of animation to display their work. This new and consistent influx of different artists sparks new events and activity in the village. And while some artists only make Fontecchio a short stay, others made a full transition to the village, like Eric, who came from Mexico City.
At the beginning, it was a very nice experience to find yourself and with your friends reconstructing something from zero, from scratch. I feel lucky to share with this small village. It's magic. I don't know what to say.
La Cap brings a new energy to an old medieval village, which faced a defining moment in April 2009. A 6.3 magnitude earthquake destroyed the city of L'Aquila and damaged all of its surrounding towns. That's when their mayor, Sabrina Ciancone, decided she wanted to lead.
Dopo il terremoto la possibilità di impegnarmi per il paese cui sono sempre stata molto legata è parso naturale. I miei studi di scienze politiche forse mi hanno un po' aiutata, ma in realtà la motivazione più grande era quella di restituire un po' di tutto quello che il paese mi aveva dato negli anni in cui sono vissuta qui.
Sabrina was born and raised in Fontecchio, and on that day, she saw the foundations of her beloved village crack.
Non è soltanto quello che è successo nelle singole famiglie, i lutti, le morti che ci sono state, anche coloro che non hanno perso la vita in quella notte hanno perso una serenità, una sicurezza che prima pensavano di avere. E da quel momento la ricostruzione di tutto quello che di fisico era stato distrutto è stata molto impegnativa, ma ancora di più riuscire a dare fiducia alle persone che avevano deciso di rimanere qui, fiducia nella possibilità di riprendere una vita normale, di lavorare e di avere anzi delle prospettive ancora più positive. Questa è stata l'impresa più difficile.
And all of a sudden, the town of just over 400 people needed to rebuild its homes as well as its pre-existing community. Public money poured in to restore private homes, public spaces, and create new services for the village, but many houses were still empty. When La Cap decided to make Fontecchio their home, Sabrina was committed to assisting them.
L'amministrazione che ha sempre cercato di facilitare questo processo, perché siamo convinti è l'unica maniera anche di dare un senso a tutto il denaro che è stato usato per ricostruire case che altrimenti rischiavano di rimanere vuote, e invece nuove persone che si avvicinano, curiose, che trovano qui i requisiti per lavorare, per vivere, per far crescere dei bambini in sicurezza, ma anche di vivere appieno una vita comunitaria, quindi avere una vita sociale, potersi scambiare esperienze, progetti, poter collaborare per fare cose nuove insieme.
At La Cap, the sense of community that's been built is strong, but as foreigners to the village, their connection with locals is still a work in progress.
Diciamo che è stato all'inizio più difficile perché ci vuole tempo per arrivare ad ottenere la fiducia delle altre persone in un contesto così piccolo di solo 300 abitanti.
But one event that La Cap has started hosting annually to bring the community together is their Festa della Musica, a festival of music. The day begins in the town square, which is lined with tents for an artisanal market filled with local products. It's an opportunity for people in the area to bring their art, culture, and talent to the village, and hopefully expand some business.
Non vengo qua, così non lo tocca a nessuno. Va bene? Facciamo comunità, è un vero modo di fare comunità, quindi è bello, è un bel evento, una bella iniziativa, quindi musica che unisce i popoli, unisce le tradizioni, musiche che possono essere appunto popolari, come musiche intrattenimento.
La cultura è qualcosa che può avvicinare le persone, che fa scoprire la propria identità passata e che può aiutare a scoprire e a creare la fisionomia del futuro.
The day continues with more public music lessons, art exhibits, and shopping. And as the sun begins to set, the village gathers for dinner and live music in the town square. Even in just this moment, it's a celebration of small town life and a sense of harmony between generations.
E c'è una necessità di interazione tra nuove generazioni con tutta l'energia e le esigenze che hanno e persone mature, anziane, famiglie storiche nel nostro paese che si trovano in qualche modo costrette a confrontarsi con nuove lingue, nuove tradizioni, nuove culture. È una sfida, ma è l'unica maniera per pensare di dare un futuro a una comunità così piccola che altrimenti diventa sterile e rischia di morire.
Ci vuole un po' di tempo, però piano piano quella comunità in realtà si crea perché le persone effettivamente sono belle persone a Fontecchio. Magari c'è qualcuno che ci vede un po' con un senso di oddio, cosa succederà adesso, chi sono queste persone? Però poi piano piano conoscendoci cade quel velo e tutto diventa più omogeneo.
Going forward as a community is essential for all small towns in Abruzzo looking to repopulate. But Sabrina knows that the path towards sustainable growth in Fontecchio can't just happen within the town's walls.
L'amore e il contributo non si dà restando 365 giorni all'anno, anzi si rischia di essere molto limitati e chiusi così. Io mi auguro e vedo che succede, che il legame che si crea, l'amore profondo per questo posto, se anche porta a crescere altrove, però si vuole portare, come un po' è successo a molti di noi, le esperienze fatte, le conoscenze, la rete di relazioni che si sono create, di riportarle qui per far crescere il posto.
Fontecchio is just at the beginning of the road to repopulation, but they're on the right track. Sabrina's vision and La Cap's flow of ideas from all around the world are a big step in driving the town's growth and embracing small town life. A half-hour away down winding roads is another small town called Navelli. Like Fontecchio, only a few hundred people live in the town, which also felt the effects of the 2009 earthquake. Since the 13th century, when a monk brought saffron to Navelli for the first time, local families have harvested the spice every fall on their small plots of land. It's a storied tradition, and because of saffron's high price tag, it has been fundamental to the area's economy. In 1971, a saffron cooperative was created to boost production and make life easier for farmers. But after 40 years, none of the old producers were left, and younger farmers were less keen on continuing their family's traditions. So in 2015, Massimiliano Di Innocenzo, a son of saffron farmers, became president of the cooperative to help.
Here, saffron is not only a product, so not only something that is produced, but it's only a kind of really big tradition, and it's something that is done by every person, apart from the professional farmers, but everyone has a little garden with the saffron, so it's something that is inside everyone. So for me it was something very important to preserve.
The harvest period takes just 2 or 3 days, but it's taxing work that can only be done by hand.
So when you have a lot, and when I say a lot, it could mean 10,000 flowers in a day. So you have to finish all the work by the evening, by the night, and so you need many people.
The farmers inherited an intimate knowledge of the harvest process from generations before them, but they aren't trained in distributing and selling saffron worldwide. This is where Massimiliano and the cooperative come in. They handle the steps post-harvest to help around 80 producers get their share and alleviate the pressure of independently selling saffron around the world.
We have also economies of scale because we do all together instead of going on the market, everyone separated. So there is not competition, but helping each other, cooperation.
In 2020, Massimiliano and his team renovated an old monastery in the neighboring village of Civitavecchia, turning it into a hostel and headquarters for saffron-based tourism. Travelers from around the world curious about the production and cultivation of the precious spice can come and take part in the full harvest experience, from picking the flowers to separating the pistils.
Because of this saffron that is well known all around the world, we have also some touristic movement here, but the cooperative of producers was not ready to give proper services to the tourists. So we created the cooperative Oro Rosso to assist, to give the tourist side to the cooperative Altopiano di Navelli.
Oro Rosso, which means red gold, has encouraged an influx of visitors to the area, both tourists as well as young, aspiring farmers interested in cultivating red gold of their own. This newfound interest in saffron from outsiders has also renewed enthusiasm in young locals, who might have been taking for granted the lucrative tradition that was passed down to them.
Young people here had some examples of people coming here to do this kind of old job, and so it was a way for me, for example, to push them to do it, because they had an example. Oh, come on, this young guy of 25 years old is coming from Rome to produce saffron, so something that I can do easily in my garden.
By inspiring the younger generation of locals to continue harvesting saffron, and by welcoming tourists into the community and its traditions, Massimiliano and the cooperative are giving hope to Navelli and its surrounding towns.
It's quite difficult to imagine that a lot of people will move in those villages, okay? So at least we should attract people like tourists, visitors. Someone can decide to live here. We are really open to help them to be part of the community.
Nestled in a valley between two of Abruzzo's other mountains is a tiny town called Salle. Life in Salle is simple, with time dictated by the church bells and social activity revolving around the town bar. Over the past century, Salle's population has declined due to waves of emigration, and to this day, young people continue to leave for cities and abroad in search of better job opportunities. But not everyone decided to leave. 5 years ago, Salle took a leap of faith and elected its youngest mayor ever, then 27-year-old Davide Morante. Growing up in the village as just one of 2 kids born in his year, he is a true son of Salle, now at the helm of Town Hall.
Io sono nato a Salle, ma la mia famiglia, gran parte è emigrata. E mi chiedo sempre, osservo sempre questa cosa, come per dire, noi adesso ne siamo tantissimi in famiglia, ne siamo più di 170, quasi 200. E mi domando come mai nel luogo di nascita ci sono rimasto solo io.
Like many Sallesi, much of Davide's extended family left the village for other parts of Italy or the world in the early 1900s. But the Salle which Davide's ancestors left is different than the Salle of today. It's 2 kilometers down the road. This is Angelina, an 80-year-old shepherd and the only remaining resident of Salle Vecchia, which translates to Old Salle. At its peak, the agricultural village had a population of 2,000, but in the 1930s, an earthquake and mudslides destroyed the town, forcing the government to rebuild the new, current Salle lower in the valley. Angelina's lifestyle symbolizes the respect for tradition that is entrenched in the heart of all Sallesi. She still tends to her goats and sheep every morning, like they did for centuries. Inside the barn, Angelina is looking for the youngest of her baby goats. And after a long, hard look, she's found her baby goat, who she calls Mimi. While Angelina represents the old guard of Sallesi tradition, that very tradition means everything to Davide as well, despite his young age.
Abbiamo fatto un progetto per Salle Vecchio ad hoc, dove in seguito a queste analisi, ovviamente Salle Vecchio dovrà diventare un museo a cielo aperto. Un museo a cielo aperto significa un luogo della memoria, un luogo turistico, un luogo di identità.
The castle has been converted into a museum and restaurant, and more renovation to the medieval village could bring some tourism to Salle. As a leader, Davide's vision is centered around the marriage of the past and present. To him, going forward as a village requires looking back, honoring, and preserving.
Un paese senza una storia, senza le radici, non è assolutamente niente. Sulla base di questo possiamo lavorare per lo sviluppo e per il recupero di quello che è possibile a Salle Vecchio per avviare un volano di sviluppo e di turismo per la nostra comunità.
In a depopulated region with limited services, development can often be difficult. But Davide and his administration have taken some important steps, such as renovation of the town hall, old school, and parks.
Salle non è ovviamente un comune predisposto al momento ad essere un comune di 10.000 abitanti, ovviamente. Siamo 300, diciamo, nonostante questo abbiamo diverse case vuote, questo sì, però non dire va bene, ok, c'ho una casa, ti paghi $1 e ti prendi la casa, per esempio. Non è una cosa che non condivido. Secondo me dobbiamo fare dei progetti e noi dobbiamo, ovviamente, dei progetti ambiziosi, non stiamo parlando di un progettino, ma dei progetti ambiziosi, credibili, per cercare di far tornare i sallesi.
A big part of Davide's faith in bringing Sallesi back stems from the built-in love and respect that the community has for tradition. And for over 200 years, every July, the Sallesi community has celebrated the feast of its patron saint, Beato Roberto.
Però è l'evento fondamentale, è il momento tanto atteso e emozionante che ogni sallese riconosce e che ogni sallese celebra in ogni parte del mondo. Diciamo, la lontananza fisica non corrisponde con la lontananza del cuore.
The festivities kick off on the Sunday before his feast day and birthday of July 18th, with the folkloric celebration known as I Palmentieri. Sallesi spanning all generations gather together and begin with a procession around town, dressed in traditional garments, playing instruments of the past. Every village in Italy has its own celebration, but what makes Salle's feast unique is the commitment of emigrants and their families to return to their town of origin every July.
Io non considero mai Salle oppure i sallesi come persone limitate qua attorno. Gli emigranti sono la prima risorsa di Salle.
To Davide, having Sallesi from all corners of the world in town for the week is proof of their shared love for the village and its traditions.
Il sallese emigrante non ha questa possibilità di vederlo spesso e quindi molte volte vive soprattutto di ricordi e di nostalgia. Nell'emigrante è conservata proprio l'autenticità dell'amore per il paese.
As the procession nears the town square, the entire town joins in, carrying donations ranging from home-baked pastries to wine to be auctioned off. The return of Sallesi from around the world doesn't just continue the tradition, but it plays a big part in funding the town's economy. All of the money spent at the table is donated to the feast committee to pay for the events of the week.
Due di questi?
Qualcuno ha fatto la notata?
Quando stanno?
Non lo so.
10 a bottino.
Everyone buys dinner in piazza to take home and eat with family. So many tables, even for just a week, are a global Sallesi community, reunited to honor their ancestors and their town's traditions. 4 days later, July 18th, marks the feast for Beato Roberto. It's been over 750 years since he was born in Salle, but he is still celebrated every summer.
E farvi gli auguri di una buona festa patronale. Evviva San Roberto! Il Beato Roberto è una figura in qualche modo venerata da tutti, anche dai non credenti, se vogliamo. Lo sappiamo perché il Beato Roberto alla fine è un nostro concittadino. È una figura che nasce a Salle nel 1273.
The procession starts at noon under the hot sun, and the 200-pound statue gets carried out of church, ready to be paraded down the streets of Salle. It's both a spiritual and cultural moment that transcends generations.
Essere un sallese significa tenere al proprio paese con lo sguardo nel passato e il piede nel futuro. E cioè significa che non si può essere sallese se si prescinde, diciamo così, se si esclude quello che siamo stati, cioè la storia di Salle, i nostri antenati e la nostra cultura e la nostra identità.
Along with the statue, there are banners representing different corners of the world where Sallesi emigrated to over the past century. As Beato Roberto is carried back into church, Sallesi sing a song dedicated to him. It's the ultimate culmination of the feast, rooted in a respect that is entrenched in the hearts of everyone from the village. At night, the party begins. Vendors pack the streets and music fills the square.
Molti mi parlano di miracoli del Beato Roberto. Io gli ho sempre risposto, ma se vedi la piazza il 18 luglio o se vedi il paese a luglio è già un miracolo. Il più grande miracolo del Beato Roberto è quello di richiamare, miracolo se vogliamo anche laico nel senso, però di richiamare tutti i suoi fratelli sparsi nel mondo in un unico giorno a Salle.
For now, Salle is only full during this 1 week of the year. But progress takes time, and the town is led by a young person with a vision of the future that pays homage to its past. Davide is not merely hoping to attract new residents, but rather, he hopes to draw people with Sallesi roots back to their town of origin. Then perhaps they can eventually become a part of the economy and community.
Ma il mio sogno è quello di ripopolare Salle con le nuove generazioni di quelli che partirono negli anni del metà del Novecento, ecco, e anche prima. Questo è un mio sogno.
It's unrealistic to assume jobs and services will rapidly enter rural towns in Abruzzo, and it's inevitable that some villages will die out and be lost in history. But maybe, some small towns can be saved from depopulation and remain viable places to live and raise a family, like Fontecchio, Navelli, and Salle. If new generations continue to lead with clear visions, they may inspire others to seek out the small town way of life.
Secondo me rimane un atto di coraggio e quindi secondo me chi ha fatto questa scelta deve poter vivere in un paesino che sia accogliente e in qualche modo sicuro e rinnovato.